However, I don't see whatever it is that he's referring to when he asks, how many shares have you bought before? Well, if you want to know how many shares you own, we've done screen shares in class of Robinhood, and I show you where to look to see how many shares of a given stock that you own. So if you're ever not sure about that, just ask me in class, and I can definitely bring that up. Let's see. Jennifer says, can you explain the buyback concept and how to execute a buyback of a short call position? Haven't reached a strike or the expiration. Should I buy to close the call with a different strike and expiration? Well, basically buying an option back just means you buy back the same option you sold. So when you sell an option, or really when you sell anything, you can sell something before you buy it. You can sell it before you buy it. So basically, when you talk about selling a cover call, what you're doing is you're selling an option that pretty much allows someone to pay you money. They put money in your account that day, and you're selling the upside and the potential of that asset. So if you want to, at some point, as the market conditions change, you can go back in, buy that sucker back, and that's yours again. So ultimately, every buy can be negated by a sell. Every sell can be negated by a buy. So when I say buyback, that's what I'm referring to. Now, if you want to switch expiration dates or strike prices, you can certainly do that. But I say that that would occur as part of maybe a roll up or roll over, right? So you can do a roll up or roll down of a position. And all this is, if you log into drboyceprime.com, all these are explained inside your curriculum on how to do roll ups and roll downs. I've done a lot of examples. I don't mind doing more though. And basically the roll ups and roll downs, you can change the strike price and the expiration date if that's something that you'd like to do. Let's see. Betty says, hey, Dr. Boyce, can you direct me to the lecture on the money grid? I don't understand how to read the chart. Okay. So the moneymaker grid, the biggest thing I would say about the moneymaker grid to start is the biggest thing to pay attention to is that last column. The last column, if you have the stocks listed on the left, and then I have a bunch of information in the middle, the biggest thing to pay attention to, and I'm going to go through this in class, I think I'm going to actually make a note to myself to cover this in class, but that monthly ROI with margin tells you how much of an ROI you can earn on the asset with margin. And that's pretty much the defining variable here. And I want to mention also my numbers on Ford were a little bit off, so I had to adjust those. Also, Sarepta Therapeutics is no longer the wonderful asset that it was before. Before, Sarepta SRPT was a killer on the grid. It was really a great asset to own. Now it's not anymore because remember I told you all in class that this was a pregnant stock. And I said that something's about to happen with this stock. Something's about to occur. And I don't know if it's going to be good or bad, but I know something big's about to happen. That's why the call options are so pricey. Well, right now, that's not there anymore. Sarepta, the pregnant stock gave birth, and it gave birth to a beautiful baby boy or something. And what happened was that stock, if you owned it, you're happy because that stock went up from, I think, about 130 to about 179 or 180. I owned a couple hundred shares of the stock. So, it was pretty cool. In overnight, we made enough money to buy a car for our teenage daughter, but she still ain't getting no car. But still, though, at the same time, some of these stocks can do that. And pharmaceutical companies can get really pumped up like that. And that's one of the better ones, the better outcomes since we had Madrigal Pharmaceuticals, which went up 10 times more than its original value overnight. And pharmaceutical companies can do that because they've got so much going on in terms of potential things that could happen in the wake of an FDA trial. All right, so let's see. James says, hello, Dr. Boyce. Robinhood just added options, sell, stop, limit orders. Thanks for your service. Well, you're welcome, James. And thank you for telling me that. I didn't know that they put that in there. A sell stop limit. We're going to cover that in class. I'll explain to you exactly how that works. But basically what that means is that you set a stop price, which is a price where you can pre-program your order. So you can set a stop price and say, if my stock drops to this price, then I want you to put in an order to sell it. Now, the order that you put in can either be a market order or a limit order. A market order means that when I put in the order, whatever the price is, just sell it at that price. So if the price is moving quickly, the price may drop further than the price that you picked as your stop price, because that's what the market can do. If you put a limit on it, you say, you might say, look, my stop point is 115, but my limit is 114. That means that if the stock hits 115, you're placing an order, but it's a limit order, which means that if the stock is not above 114, you do not sell. But if scratch that. If it is above 114, that's when you sell. If it goes below 114, you do not sell. So a limit means I'm placing my order and I need you to put a limit on what I'm willing to sell for, because remember that the time that you put in the order, the price can change between the time you put in the order and the time the order hits the street or hits the floor. So you want to make sure sometimes that you put a limit on it. If you're worried that stock is going to move, then you have to sort of make that adjustment. And yeah, that stock was SRPT, Sarepta Therapeutics, SRPT. I don't like it anymore for options. I sold my shares in case you want to know what I did with mine. Dennis, but we talked about that stock all week, and it was kind of crazy to see a stock we talked about all week just sort of do that. That doesn't happen very often, but it was a good week for those of you that did, take a look at that asset. Dennis, hey Doc, I have $50,000 to $100,000 to invest in stock options. Should I purchase one stock to sell options on, or should I allocate the money among several different stocks? What stocks would you recommend? Well, this is not investing advice, but I'm a big believer in diversification. I'm a big believer in spreading your money out, not putting all your eggs in one basket. So I'm going to say that even though you could pull the strategy off with one stock, I've seen people nurture one stock and just have a relationship with one asset that generates that consistent income. But I think the more you spread your money out, the less risk you have. And really, it's not even just spreading your money out amongst stocks. It's also spreading your money out amongst asset classes. So that means having the money spread out amongst your stocks, your puts, your cash, your calls, etc. So that because all those assets have different dynamics, and what that does is that keeps your portfolio safer than it would be if it's all in one place. But overall, I think 50 to 100,000 is great.